This time last year, when I otherwise would have been entering my senior year of university, I was instead here, in the Kibera neighborhood of Nairobi, Kenya. Kibera is one of Africa's largest informal settlements, with hundreds of thousands of people living in an area of roughly 1 square mile. In Kibera, I was working at a local grassroots health clinic following the recent slashing of global health funding. I ended up here because I couldn't stop thinking about a single question a mentor asked me 3 summers before. While walking together one evening after work, she asked me the question that I want you to now think about for your own life. She asked, when you are on your deathbed, what do you hope your life will have been? Raise your hand if you are certain of your answer. And raise your hand if you feel at least some uncertainty. Finally, blink twice if you have no idea. From your responses, I see that most of us are living without a clear answer to one of life's most important questions. When I was asked this question, I was in the same camp as those of you who blinked twice. I had absolutely no idea. And that terrified me. That feeling sparked a 3-year journey that led me to develop my own answer to the deathbed question. This is the story of that journey. Coming into college, I thought this would be the time when everything would fall into place. But I found myself more uncertain than ever. I had just registered for my next semester of classes, a pre-medical schedule packed with organic chemistry, biology, and physics. I remember sitting in the library with my friends as they gushed to me about how excited they were for their classes. I, however, realized that I wasn't looking forward to mine at all. That night, back in my room, I clicked through every single class that WashU offered, literally thousands of them. I made a list of all of the classes that caught my eye. And when I looked at that list, instead of feeling excited, I felt deflated. I felt deflated because I knew that I couldn't take most of these classes I felt so excited about taking if I stayed on the pre-medical path. And that's when I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't choosing my path because I knew it was the best fit for me. I was choosing it because it was the clear path. The clear path was the path that I had planned on doing since high school, the path for which I had so enthusiastically chosen WashU as my college, and the path that so many people before me had done and found fulfilling. I think this is why uncertainty can be so scary. The clear path gives us something to name, an identity, a belonging. It puts us on a trajectory with momentum, propelling us forward while also making it harder to change direction. And when we step off that path, we're forced to sit with the possibility that we might get lost. But instead of trying to figure out my whole life all at once, I decided to do something smaller. I asked myself, what would happen if I took just one class that I was genuinely curious about, even if it wasn't on my clear path? So that year, I decided to sign up for a class that did not count for my pre-medical curriculum, my major or minor, or even my graduation requirements. That class changed the trajectory of my college experience. It was a behavioral science class taught by Dr. John Bogard, who you just heard deliver his own TEDx talk a few minutes ago. For the first time in college, I felt electrified by what I was learning. I had discovered my passion for behavioral science, and I couldn't get enough. I frequented Dr. Bogard's office hours, returning each time with more and more questions. Dr. Bogard and I would email each other articles back and forth and spent hours discussing topics within the field. Many of our conversations began with me scanning the bookshelf in his office, flipping through some of the books, and picking out an author to discuss. These conversations and this way of approaching learning invigorated me. I spent hours listening to talks, reading books from researchers, and writing down my own questions and observations about human nature. Choosing to deviate from my clear path by taking that one class opened me up to a passion I likely otherwise would have never found. So I promised myself that I would pursue opportunities based on curiosity rather than because they followed a clear path. I stepped away from my pre-medical path and began looking for new ways to discover and explore my interests. This led me to the first part of my current answer to the deathbed question: exploration. I began treating my choices like science experiments, each with their own hypotheses, methods, results, and conclusions. This is what I now call hypothesis testing my own life. I tested whether I wanted to become a psychologist by joining a peer counseling organization. I took classes across nearly all of the university's schools, from a discussion-based seminar on refugees to a business practicum in which we partnered with local St. Louis businesses. I went to office hours to chat with professors across the anthropology, psychology, and economics departments. I went down internet rabbit holes, read books of all types, scoured Wikipedia pages, and watched many, many TED and TEDx talks. From these experiences, I've learned that I want my life to be filled with exploration. Exploration of how and why people do what they do from anthropological, psychological, and economic perspectives. Exploration of cultures through art, food, and music. And finally, exploration of what it means to be a lifelong student of the world. To further explore my interests, I took a gap year between my junior and senior years of university, during which I identified the second part of my current answer to the deathbed question: connection. I took this gap year to pursue 2 internships in Nairobi and Paris. For each of these experiences, I moved to cities and countries in which I did not yet have a single friend or acquaintance. In these places, I initially felt so lonely without the built-in connections of student life, and I realized just how meaningful relationships are to me. To build community, I began hosting friends of friends potluck dinners. I would invite a few coworkers and encourage them to bring along a friend the rest of us did not yet know. These dinners grew and grew, eventually leading to 30-plus person gatherings. I loved hosting these parties because I got to form connections with people I likely otherwise would have never met. I spent hours learning about the lives of my friends, ages 19 to 48, hailing from Algeria to Colombia to Iceland to Zambia. In addition to the relationships that I formed, these communal gatherings sparked friendships between others that have lasted far beyond my own departure. They still send me photos of them getting together for salsa nights, weekend picnics, and museum outings. From these experiences, I've learned how fulfilling it is for me to engage in and build community. My gap year also helped me gain professional clarity. I interned on the behavioral science team of a global policy organization and on the finance team of a health clinic in Nairobi. These experiences led me to the third and final part of my current answer to the deathbed question: impact. In my career, I want to improve the world in ways that are both impactful and meaningful to me. From these experiences, I've learned that I want to engage both public and private sector methods to address global issues related to health and climate. By stepping away from my clear path in medicine, I was able to see how many other ways there are to make an impact, whether through behavioral science, social entrepreneurship, business, policy, or building organizations that help people at scale. While my gap year helped me gain more professional clarity, my next 10 years remain far less clear than if I had stayed on the pre-medical path. I now find beauty in this uncertainty. Rather than making me feel stuck, uncertainty now gives me the freedom to explore. For now, my answer to the deathbed question is that when I look back, I want to have lived a purposeful life filled to the brim with exploration, connection, and impact. I will use this combination of experimentation through hypothesis testing and reflection through the deathbed question to continue identifying what is most meaningful to me. These two tools are ones that I believe could help you navigate uncertainty in your own life with more direction, curiosity, and courage. For example, if you're a student deciding between two majors, you can treat next semester like a test. Take one course in each major and notice which one excites you more. If you're deciding between two post-grad career paths, you can run an experiment by doing an informational interview, shadowing someone, or trying out a small project that mimics the work. If you're faculty, staff, or community member in transition, you can ask yourself, what's one small experiment I could run that would give me information about what I want to do differently? Because we don't need to redesign our whole lives to learn something meaningful. As part of my own exploration journey, I've challenged my friend group for us all to get rejected by more than 80% of the opportunities to which we apply. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't give our best in each application, but I feel that if we are not getting rejected by the majority of opportunities to which we apply, we are not trying hard enough. In our group chats, we send screenshots of each shot that we shoot. My friend aptly named this group chat Shot Shooters. With each rejection shared, we cheer each other on for trying. I invite you, too, to seek out rejection. What all of these have in common is that they are small, low-risk ways to gain real information to guide our life goals. Because the truth is, we don't figure out what we want by thinking about it. We figure it out by testing it. Universities are incredible places. They give us the mentors, structures, and resources to help us accomplish many of our academic and professional goals. But in schools that excel in helping us achieve our goals, we rarely pause to ask whether these goals are right for us in the first place. So, to all of you here, students, faculty, staff, and community members, who are still figuring out who you want to become, I hope that you too can use this hypothesis testing method to arrive at your own answer to the deathbed question. Let's begin our next experiment.